If your children have already given you their Christmas list, you might see they're asking for a new games console. It's Andy Robertson, who's the editor of taminggaming.com. You know, for people I know who have, for example, an Xbox or a PlayStation, they always swear that theirs is the best. But for a parent who is maybe none the wiser, why does it really matter which one you get?
I think the different platforms do offer a similar experience. Really what distinguishes them is the games you can play. So some games will only be available on a particular platform. So what I'll usually say to parents is talk to your kids, play games with them, understand what are the key things that they couldn't live without, and then that can be a driver. Different services do differ. You can buy games in different ways on different platforms. But really, you kind of need to dig into it and have conversations in your family.
I mean, the reason that, in a sense, you know, parents may be initially reticent is just because the price of these things. I mean, it's a lot of money to invest, so you want it to be right, and you really don't want them after 2 weeks to go, well, actually, we don't like this anymore, or it's not the right one. You can't. It's too much money.
Yeah, and I think by understanding, you know, what you're getting for your money and finding games that are going to give you a lot of value in your family. You know, you can start to think, okay, the money I've spent has sort of returned entertainment and something that's enjoyable rather than something that's maybe causes a bit of tension. And part of that is getting those consoles set up correctly. So I'm often talking to families about, you know, what to do before you wrap up that console for Christmas.
Online gaming is a big thing now. And obviously there is concern from some parents that the contact children are having with other people. What would you say about that? Could you say anything to those parents to maybe reassure them about those sort of things?
Yeah, I think online games, you know, playing with other people is much more fun. You know, kids in the playground, they love to sort of make up games and you'll see them run off and they'll play with other kids. On a console, obviously, you may be on as understanding who else they're playing with. And there are some really simple settings on every console that you do, before, as I was saying, before you wrap it up. Just spend maybe half an hour going through. You can specify who they can and can't talk to online. You can specify, you know, what age rating of games they can play without asking for a password. And equally, you can also set limits on how much they spend and if they can spend money. And so they have to come and talk to you about it, get the password, and then they can continue. So it just means that it creates a safe kind of context in which you can understand what they're playing and also sort of take part in that, find games to play together.
That's a good idea, actually, because it's almost like, you know, some parents, it's another world, isn't it? And, you know, they're maybe not even aware what's going on within some of these games. Maybe it's an idea, I don't know, for some parents to maybe play them beforehand or at the same time, like you said, just so they understand.
Yeah, something that I've always enjoyed doing, actually, is, you know, when we get a new game in our house, is to spend some time playing myself, but also playing with the kids and watching them play. And I think parents can often think that sort of kids don't want them, you know, looking and asking questions about it, like it's their thing, we'll leave them to it. But actually, my experience is that my kids and other families I speak to, the kids love it when parents ask, you know, what you're doing, how's it going, are you winning, what are you trying to do in this game? And spend time, rather than just kind of helicoptering in, checking they're safe and leaving, actually say, I'm going to spend half an hour and let's watch what you're doing and let's celebrate when you do something, you know, that's really hard to achieve.
We hear a lot about some of the violence within these games, and that can be scary for many parents. But actually, there can be some benefits, can't there?
Yeah, particularly in this period when, you know, kids maybe aren't in touch with relatives or each other as much. You know, particularly during that for the first lockdown, my kids kept up with friends and had those kind of ongoing friendships, the sort of conversations that they'd have in the playground. I heard them having while they're playing Fortnite or Rocket League or some of these online games. I think it's important to understand that they're getting more than just entertainment. And also, you know, if life is difficult and the world's a bit confusing, it is quite nice to go and be somewhere that's just playful and reassuring, and you can kind of escape the chaos for a bit. And I think many children were getting a lot of benefits from games from doing that. And I think as a parent, it's easy to think, oh, why are you on that thing so long? But actually, there's lots of other stuff going on that once you see that, you think, oh, actually, it's important that you have this time, much like other activities they might do in life.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point. And I guess it's just also about making sure that they're looking at age-appropriate content, you know, in the same way that you would obviously look at what they're watching on television, what they're viewing on social media. You know, this has to be the same, doesn't it?
Yeah, and every game has really good ratings. So you get the PEGI rating, which is the age that appears on the front of the box. and that's sort of a traffic light system. It's sort of 3 and 7 are green, 12 is orange, and then 16 and 18's in red. And on the system, you can also specify, you set up a user for your child, which is important to do. You can say how long they play, but also you can say what's the age-rated games that they can access without asking me for that password.
I'm always just amazed at how realistic this stuff looks and how you could be. You know, when I was growing up, I used to watch a movie and think, imagine if I was in that. And now I see these kids playing these games and it's almost like they're in it, isn't it? It's just amazing, I always think. You know, one day maybe that's how we'll all be doing things. I don't know. Who knows where we'll be, Andy. Thank you for talking to me.
Thank you.
See you later. Cheers. Andy Robertson there, the editor of TamingGaming.com.